This is the all-new SsangYong Korando SUV, and if you've never heard of a SsangYong Korando, don't stress, you're probably not alone. But you may be surprised to learn that this is the 5th generation version of this car. Sure, it might not be a household name, but it was the biggest selling model for the brand when it was on sale in Australia earlier in the 2010s. We're driving this all-new version here in Korea before it touches down in Australia later in 2019, where it'll compete with the likes of the Hyundai Tucson, Kia Sportage, Mazda CX-5, Nissan Qashqai. There's so many competitors for this car. So, we've got to see what it's like. First, let's take a look at the exterior design. The new Korando's exterior is a big departure from its predecessor, looking broader and considerably more substantial on the road as a result. Just like the previous version, the front is nice, and in profile it doesn't look too bad either. The wheels go up to 19 inches in size, which definitely helps with that. But at the rear it's a little bit fussy. There's a lot going on here, and SsangYong insists on accentuating the hip points that run over the tops of the rear wheel arches. The good news is that this awkwardly styled rear end does hide a very good sized boot. SsangYong claims the cargo capacity of the Korando is 551 litres, and it's also pretty clever because you can expand the boot floor and move things around and make it even bigger. And that's pretty big for an SUV of this size. Now, let's check out the back seat. SsangYong says the Korando is class leading in terms of space, and I'm struggling to find how they could be wrong. There's heaps of room in front of me. This driver's seat is set to my position. Remember, we're on the wrong side of the road here, wrong side of the car as well. So back seat room is impressive. There is heaps of headroom back here. I've got a lot of width to play with as well, so if I wanted to, I could potentially have 3 people across. There's not too much of an intrusion on the floor, and it's very comfortable. But there are some things missing. You don't get rear USB points. You can get a rear power point, but it's with a Korean plug. We hope they change that for the Australian production model. There are no rear seat air vents, but you do get a decent set of cup holders in the flip down armrest, and also good sized pockets in the doors. And while it might be missing rear seat vents, you can get rear seat heating, which is pretty impressive. Up front is the most presentable and modern cabin from SsangYong to date, with quality materials and finishes, and some really neat elements like infinity mood lighting on the doors and dashboard. That lighting will be offered in higher grade versions. My highlight for the interior is the digital display for the driver, a 10.25-inch screen similar to what you'd find in a Peugeot, Volkswagen or Audi. The standard screen will have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for your connectivity needs. There are other niceties like dual zone climate, heated and cooled seats and more. You can bank on this, it'll be well equipped. Read the review for more details. Now, what's it like to drive? SsangYongs have never been the sort of car you look towards when you're aiming for the benchmark of driving technology and enjoyment, but this one is pretty damn good. The steering is better than I've experienced in any other SsangYong I've driven, and the body control is well sorted too. Can't really comment on the suspension. We haven't really driven over any roads that replicate what we can expect in Australia, but there's decent grip and it's definitely a fairly nice car to drive. The engine in the model I'm driving now is the 1.5 litre petrol turbo 4-cylinder with decent outputs for this type of car and in this class. It comes with a 6-speed automatic transmission, and yes, you can get paddle shifters, woo! But the paddle shifters are rubbish, boo! What it means is that the transmission doesn't necessarily react how you might want it to at times. If you are driving aggressively, for instance, you might find that the transmission won't obey your command, and that can be annoying. But it's a mid-size SUV, so let's be serious. No one's going to drive it like that anyway. We might not get the all-wheel drive petrol version in Australia. We might just have to stick with the front-wheel drive because that's what the market is actually buying. And that's no bad thing. It's pretty good. It's got a nice amount of punch to it. It's zesty, it's not too noisy, and also it pretty much lives up to what you'd expect for a 1.5 turbo. So all in all, it's a well-rounded drive experience. Pretty refined, pretty comfortable, nice and predictable, and powerful enough. As well as the front-wheel drive petrol, we'll likely get a range-topping diesel with all-wheel drive. We drove it at the launch too, and it was quite nice, if a little noisy. The new Korando hasn't been crash tested yet. The company claims it will be one of the safest cars in the segment, and theoretically it has the tech to achieve a 5-star NCAP rating, with things like auto emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert with rear auto braking all set to be offered. We don't know what models will have what just yet, but AEB, a reversing camera and 7 airbags will be standard across the range. And SsangYong is backing all of its models with a 7-year warranty with the same cover of cap price servicing and roadside assist. That's pretty compelling and better than plenty of its competitors. There are still some unanswered questions when it comes to pricing and spec, but I can say that after driving the Korando here in Korea, it's going to go a long way towards becoming a household name, and not only in this country, potentially globally.